We're going to go ahead and start tonight's activities. Once again, I want to thank you for being here. My name again is Joel Smith. I'm the Director of Athletics. And I think first of all, I want to start out by thanking the creative dining people who put today's meal together and worked hard to make sure we all got fed quickly. So let's give them a round of applause. The Hall of Fame is chosen by a selection committee. The members of that committee, not all are here today, but I would like to take the opportunity to recognize them. They are the people who selected you. Con Marshall, Alex Helmrich, some of them are here, that's a good thing. Myself, Randy Bauer, Bob Zam, Pat Colgate.
Stand up, Bob.
I don't know, can you stand up, Bob? Okay. Dr. Scott Ritson, John Axtell, Ron Grant, Caleb Center, and Karen Pope. If you could give them a round of applause for the work they did. Well, I guess this is my 5th Hall of Fame here. I try not to be up here very long because I know everybody likes to hear from Con. I think every year he works on stuff and comes up with stuff that just amazes me. And I'm sure he'll do it again tonight. But I know it's fun for everybody to hear the stories and the research that he's done. So I'm going to turn the podium over to Con Marshall.
Welcome everybody, and thanks for putting up with the confusion we had about getting a board over here, and then we covered up most of the board, didn't get them in the picture too much, but that's the way things go sometimes. Anyway, we want to send those to their hometown newspapers, to the recipients, and we got one more picture to take, and that's a picture of all 4 or all 8 of the recipients afterwards. So don't go rushing out the door, everybody, and we just need to get you 8 of you for a picture that will run in the Alumni Magazine and put in some other newspapers, things of that sort. Well, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes things that happen to make this thing click every year. And we need to mention those people. One of them is Alex right over here. He's going to run the projector, but Alex is a lot more than that. He puts together the program that you all should have had, and he helps us a lot. You know, everything. He knows a lot about the players, and he's a Chadron State graduate, and he loves the place and does a lot of, puts a little common sense into some of the things that I try to do once in a while. So we appreciate him a full bunch. Daniel Binkert is another person. He's a photographer on campus, but he puts the video together. And he's not here tonight, but he really deserves a lot of credit. Craig Conway at the print shop, he prints the programs. Sarah Dykes, she takes your money and she makes all the reservations and she figures out where you're all from and everything, and we really appreciate her. I think she's right here. Here's Alex, so let's give those 2 people a big. Sometimes people say I talk a little bit too much when I'm up here, and so forgive me a little bit when I introduce each athlete, but this has got to be one of the strongest Hall of Fame induction groups that we've ever had, I'm sure. You know, we got 2 national champion bull riders, and that's pretty special, I'll tell you what. How many of you wanted to be a bull rider when you were a kid? Raise your hand. Anybody want to do that? I think we got a few that are wearing hats over here. Well, that's good. But anyway, it's quite a different, it's even tougher than football, I think, some days, if you got a mad bull. Anyway, we got those people. That takes a lot of courage and a lot of grit to want to ride the bulls, and we got 2 of the best of the all-time college rodeo, and they went beyond that by a whole bunch, and we'll learn a lot more about about what they did later on. You know, we've had 6 now, national champion in rodeo, and that's pretty special too. One of them was Don Meter back in 1956. He's supposed to be the first guy that ever caught a calf in the Dawes County Arena over here in 10 seconds or less. his grandson about 30 years later, maybe 40, Riley Pruitt. You probably heard of him because he gets to go to Las Vegas every once in a while. Then Cheyenne Frontier Days and stuff. He did one in 7-8 over here. But anyway, so they were a rodeo family. Then we had Gene Foos and Kathy Kennedy. They were back-to-back breakaway roping champions in 1978 and 79. And then we had, just 3 years ago, Shelby Winchell. She won the Go Time Championship. So you're witnessing something tonight that's pretty special when we honor Will Farrell and Dustin Elliott as national champion bull riders. Not only national champion bull riders, they weren't really nice bull riders, but they were also national champions in class. And the 4 football players, I think, are really special too. Particularly the team that they played on. My goodness. Some of this will be mentioned in the videos, but I'd like to emphasize another time Philippines and Dustin tonight all played all 4 years at Chadron State, and they led the Eagles to a perfect 10-0 season in 2001 when they were seniors. That was the 3rd undefeated regular season team that Chadron State ever had. The first was back in 1925. I hardly remember that one, but in 1925 they beat the University of Colorado 3-0. And then in 1958, and I do remember that one because I was still a senior in high school that fall at Chadron High School. Anyway, they went 8-0, were undefeated, and just 3 weeks ago, their coach, who's now 90, Bill Baker, lives in Arizona, he had a big reunion here, Baker Boys reunion, brought in a lot of people, and that was a big, big special event. They had a great time. There aren't a lot of them. Some of them aren't living, some of them are deceased now, and the coaches outlived the players. But anyway, they had a good time, and it was a big time event, and it was a lot of fun there. And I guess some of the touchdown runs that they had were probably even longer than anything we've seen since then. But anyway, they were good. That was a good time. So, but these 4 people, they were to be inducted tonight. They were all conference. Their team was, coached by Brad Smith, had a 29-3 record in the RMAC and won or shared 3 conference championships in the 4 years they were here. Special group. And then we have these 2 tall basketball players we're going to be inducting too. And let me tell you, our coaches would give their eye teeth to have players like this that's still in their lineup. People like Janelle and Zak, because they were good players and they played in the post and they were rather close by, although Zak was from far away as he could get it in Nebraska and still be in Nebraska. But we appreciated having them, and it's really special. They had some great teams. Both of them were played on teams that won 19 games, and we haven't done that since they left. So that many games in 1 year since then. So it's just a special group that we're honoring tonight, and we think you'll really enjoy seeing them. I have one more commercial before we begin with our videos, and that's going to come from Jay Long. Jay is our football coach. He's a happy guy today, and he's got a big smile on his face, and you can imagine why. And he's also in the Hall of Fame. He also had the privilege of helping break in these new Hall of Famers because he was a senior or upperclassmen anyway when they were just coming in, and the work ethic that he and others put into that carried over to the new group, and we're glad to have Jay here tonight to say hi and to add his congratulations to these people.
First off, I want to make sure we thank Con Marshall. I remember when I was here in 1995, and you're a freshman and you all line up by your state, and there's type of things on media day. Con's pushing us around, tell us go here, go here. And we looked over our teammates and go, I wonder how old this guy is. And 20 years later, we're doing the exact same thing, and our guys are still saying, I wonder how old this guy is. And I tell you what, Con, I hope in 20 years from now, the next round of guys are saying the same thing. I wonder how old this guy is. Con, you're now outstanding for our school, and it's something special for all of us, and I want to thank you for standing up here in front of us. Give Con a hand. I had a pretty active day today, and it kind of led into a hectic night. I'm excited to celebrate with my teammates later to finish off the day. But first off, I just want to tell all of you 4 football inductees that I'm proud to stand up here as your teammate. And I'm proud to stand up here and tell you congratulations on this wonderful honor today, because today is a very special day for you, and it's a very special day for your families. And I want to just reiterate that I'm proud to be your guys' teammates. And when we talk, guys, to our team, and then every year we start off with our team in this room right here, and we start talking about our goals. And we have our goals written down, and they're all boom, boom, boom. Then we start talking about what an eagle is, and what the traits of an eagle is. And these 4 guys that are getting inducted to football, they have all those traits that will be explained. And one of the first things we always talk about is you got to be an effort-first football player. And what that means is that you always aren't the most talented football player on the football field. May not have the size, may not have the speed, may not have the strength as some of the other teams that you play, but you always have the heart, or you always have the effort, and you always control the things that you can control. And these 4 guys always exemplify that. Other thing we talk about is being team guys. And these 4 guys were definitely great teammates, and some of the best, not only played, but also some of the best teammates that have ever walked through and played on Elliott Field. And then the last thing we always talk about is tough. And all 4 of these guys are guys that are tough players, and they were tough people, and that's why Con said that they're undefeated here, because they have a whole bunch of group of guys that had those traits and believed in those things, and that's how that worked out. And I can tell you the eras that we played, guys, was some of the funnest eras at Chadron State, and we were a bunch of guys that all had those traits, and you guys are the leaders within your team, and I'm proud of you, and I'm proud to be able to say a little bit about you. The first guy I'm talking about is Ryan Deterding. Ryan, when you came in, you were a tall, skinny guy that played defensive end. And as a coach, you're when those type of guys come in and we see you on film, guys like that are tall and skinny, can run, we say, all right, let's start them off at defensive line. If they can't make the dip, bring them over to the O-line. And they get that promotion. And Ryan, 5 years later, you're no longer a big, tall, skinny guy. You're a big, tall, big offensive lineman. And you did the ultimate sacrifice. And you did the ultimate sacrifice with the team. And you put your individual honors to the side and said, I'm okay with not being a defensive lineman. I want to do what's best for the team. You went to an offensive line. And by doing that, you became one of the best to play here. And I can tell you when I'm at Wayne State, I was coaching, and when you got picked up by the Giants, I watched that film when you were playing in that preseason game, and I was so proud of you. I was so proud to say, hey, you're my teammate. And so congratulations on your day, and appreciate everything you're doing. Appreciate when we talk to our guys about doing what's best for the team. You were one of those guys that done best for the team. Next one is Jeremy Eardley. I got to play against Jeremy Eardley. He was my right guard. When the very first thing when I think about Jeremy Eardley, is a great person and a very strong person. Jeremy, when I got done playing, I was a coach, and I got to sit next to Coach Boyle, and I go, who's your best offensive lineman you've ever coached? And 2 names came up. He said 2 guys. And he said, Dan the J. Chalk and Jeremy Eardley. And that's something that I think that you're very proud of, and it's something you definitely earned. You're one of the greatest that's ever played here, and today is another honor for you to achieve. So congratulations to you, Jeremy. Next one is Matt Strand. Matt, you're my senior quarterback, and when the story that comes up in my head by you is that when Coach Stein and I were going on a recruiting trip, and we were trying to think of ways to get this kid to come to us. And we started putting up all the quarterbacks that Coach Stein coached. And when we got to your numbers just stood out huge. And it wasn't as a punter, it was as a quarterback. When I was reading that on there, that made me laugh. You were always a quarterback when I was here. And I want to tell you that I'm very happy you left the school you were at and say their name, come be an Eagle, because you're definitely an Eagle. And your name is all over the record books. And every time we recruit a quarterback, we will hold them to your standard. And we appreciate that. The last one is Jeff Turman. Jeff, whenever we look at, I throw in a linebacker on film, I hope there's doubles. I hope. And they never are. But, because you're one of the toughest guys to ever play here. And the other thing is, I think you're a great teammate, and you always brought energy every single day. It didn't matter whether it was cold outside, hot outside, we were winning the game, losing the game, you came and you played your best game ever each day. And I'm proud to say that I played with all four of you guys. The other thing the last thing I want to say is, and this is talking as the group as a whole, and someone that also has been in your guys' shoes talking and those things up here, is that last Friday, yesterday, we had our Hall of Fame football players come to practice, and every one of them brought their kids. And as a dad, as someone that played here, we always talk about how our special times we had at Chadron State. And it's not the most easiest thing to explain that and put it in words, our experiences here and what we got from Chadron State and our special time here. And when all of you brought your kids here, I could just see how your chest was up and how proud you were that your son or your kid is able to have a little piece of what you lived on when you guys were in college. And I think that was really cool. And I want to thank you guys for bringing your guys there. And I brought that up to our team. And the last thing, I'll go sit down and let Tom come back up and talk, is congratulations to all the Hall of Fame inductees. This is a special day. And I'm glad that I can be a part of it. And I appreciate you guys making Chadron State a great place. So thank you.
Ryan Deterding's video, and then Ryan, you'll come up and we'll give you your plaque and a card, and we'll also have you introduce your folks and everything. Tell us a little bit about the great times you had at Chadron State. Thank you.
Ryan Deterding played on 3 Class C2 state championship football teams at Cambridge High School, and he also played on great teams at Chadron State College. The Eagles won or shared 3 Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference championships while he was playing at the turn of the century. Because Deterding was such a good athlete, he played both offensive tackle and defensive end in his first 2 years at Chadron State, seeing action on both sides of the ball in a couple of games. Deterding finally settled in at offensive right tackle, where he was an all-star his final 2 years with the Eagles. Weighing 261 pounds, he was perhaps the lightest offensive tackle in the RMAC, but was also one of the most athletic and agile. He earned second-team All-RMAC as a junior and first-team honors as a senior in 2001. In addition, during his senior year in 2001, he was first-team All-West Region and Nebraska NCAA Division II. He was also placed on Football Gazette's All-American Third Team and Second Team All-District in the Academic All-American voting his senior season, when he took 12 hours of graduate courses. The following spring, Deterding signed a free agent contract with the New York Giants. He was also in camp briefly with the Indianapolis Colts and has lived in that community ever since. Deterding earned both his bachelor's and master's degrees in business administration from Chadron State and has been involved in the pharmaceutical industry the past 15 years. He and his wife, Lindsay, have 4 children.
Ryan, please come up, and we'll gladly.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming, and also thank you, Con, for everything you put in here, and the Hall of Fame that I've done for the Hall of Coach over these years. It's tough to follow Coach Long with all the excitement. Also to reiterate everything he did, so we're very fortunate to have Coach Long leading the program. and lots of good times with Jason. Jason also too has gotten some of us in trouble. My first week at school, Jason called me and said, I'm from Chadron, and Ryan, I want you to come to me to one of my friend's house. They have a hot tub, and she wants me to bring somebody that's tall. And I said, oh, okay, sounds great, Jason. So I show up, and Jay, your story made me think of this, is we walked to this girl's house, and we're in the hot tub, and the weather changed, and it got kind of cold, and we didn't bring any clothes. And so we had clothes on, but not any dry clothes. So she goes, well, my mom will give us a ride back. And I go, okay, that's great. So we walk in the house, and Jason's talking to this defendant. He looks just so familiar, and I know I've seen him somewhere. And for a second, I thought, is that Con that took our pictures, just last week? And no, that wasn't it. So we're riding back in the van, and I say to Melissa, I go, your dad looks so familiar. She goes, well, what's your major? And I go, well, I don't really have a major. She goes, well, he teaches economics. And he was my economics teacher every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. And he called on me every single day the rest of that year. And you might think I'm embellishing that, but at the end of the year, he actually said, you guys know why I call on Ryan every single day in this class? Because I was in the hot tub with his daughter the first week of school. The reason I tell that story is just the small community and the great people of Chadron. Dr. Burke became my advisor after that, and why I was able to go to graduate school here, and also in marketing and economics because of his guidance. So I wanted to thank all of the teachers, all of our teammates, such as Matt. I told the story about Matt. Jeff, I do have some stories, yes, thank you, but I can't tell about Jeff. And just about how special the place is. Our freshman year, I don't know if you remember this, but we weren't even playing. All the freshmen used to suit up and go out together on the field. And we were stretching. I looked to Jeff, and I go, this is awesome. And he goes, this has been my life dream. So I still remember that, Jeff, and it was great here. So sorry that I'm getting a little choked up, but I have great stories about Janelle. Some stories I can tell, some stories I can't. But I know that in her speech, she was comparing some things with some of my family members. So I'm sure that you'll hear different stories later that I won't take from her. But also too, I hope you give credit to Greg and I for all the time we spent at the 120 to 4-year basketball games. Making sure that we could be a good cheerleader. Zak, I went to grad school with Zak. Was great. Spending a lot of time together, even after that. Still stay in touch. Also too, going big in the $5 slots up north every time we could. And finally, I'm not going to forget Jeremy. Of course, we played together for 5 years. He was fortunate that he was a lot better than me, so he got to play all 4 years. Where, as Tom said, I kind of got to play the last 2 years because I got to back up great players such as Casey Marin on the defensive line. Con didn't mention that the reason that I played both offense and defense was they didn't want Casey to get hurt. So that was a good benefit. But thank you to everyone here tonight, especially my family, my in-laws from South Dakota that they came down. My parents, thank you guys so much for everything. Been married 53 years, 5 kids, 17 grandkids. I think I'm so thank you guys for that. Also to my wife, great, thank you very much for the opportunities that Chadron gave me through football, through work now, through the education. You're the reason and really the driving force to actually make me succeed on a daily basis, especially with the 4 beautiful kids we have, Isla, Joseph, Philip, and Lana. And also too, this is, I'll cut it short here, but the rest of the speech that you'll probably hear later is from Lana, so that will be Lana that cries through most of the other people that get to talk here. But I just wanted to say thanks to all my teammates, my family, and everyone, and thank you to the college. It was a great honor.
Thank you, Ryan. I think we ought to have the Deterdings all stand up so we can give them a round of applause too for the help, the great support that they give. They live in Omaha now. Glad they're here. And he mentioned something about a guy named Casey Barrett. Have anybody heard of him or not? Well, it was Alex and my honor and privilege about 3 weeks ago to be at Lincoln when a guy named Danny Woodhead and a guy named Casey Barron were inducted into the Nebraska Football Hall of Fame. And Casey and Jim and Denise, please stand up. All from Sargent, Nebraska. We're glad you're here tonight. Especially to have you. I think there's 6 people now from Chadron State that are in the Nebraska Football Hall of Fame. We got 2 of them the other night. We got to see them. And what a fun time that was, and to be able to attend that event. At this time, we'll have you'll have to watch for number 78. That will be Jeremy Eardley. He's going to be blocking for some of the same people. Mostly it's Austin Forrester, number 22, Matt Strand, number 16, but they get out and help those guys find some holes.
Jeremy Eardley of Mountain View, Wyoming, took over as the starter at offensive right guard as a redshirt freshman in 1998 and remained in the offensive line, playing both guard and center the remainder of his career at Chadron State College. Chadron State had a 34-10 cumulative record during Eardley's 4 years on the team and won or shared 3 Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference championships. When he was a senior in 2001, the Eagles went 10-0, marking just the 3rd time a Chadron State team had gone undefeated during the regular season. In 2001, the Eagles averaged 463.5 yards, the 2nd highest all-time in CSC, and 42.3 points, the most in school history. Former coach Bill O'Boyle said Eardley was everything you could ask for in an offensive lineman, and also called him the most dedicated player he had ever coached. As both a junior and senior, Eardley earned first-team all-conference and was placed on the Nebraska NCAA Division II team. During his final year, Eardley became just the 2nd Chadron State player named to the American Football Coaches Association's All-American team. The Associated Press also accorded him first-team All-American that season, while D2Football.com and Football Gazette placed him on the 2nd team. He was an industrial technology major at Chadron State. Both he and his wife, Casey, graduated from CSC in 2001. They have 2 children, Carson and Reagan. Jeremy is a Trona miner and helps operate the family ranch.
Jeremy, see you're on your way up. That number 17 you were blocking for there, I think that might be Jason Carnahan, wasn't it? So anyway, lots of times to block for people, and we're glad that you could be in the Hall of Fame, and we'll let you discuss things.
Well, I'm not much of a talker, so I can't follow Deterding and have a bunch of stories for you. But my parents came up, my in-laws came up, my wife and kids are back there with me, and CSC just gave me a lot of opportunities, and I'd do it all over in a heartbeat. It was a lot of fun, the friendships we made. Playing for Coach O'Boyle was unreal up here, and now Jay's taking over, so it's a lot of fun. Con, thanks for everything. Con follows everything and keeps everything, so it's fun for everybody to get to see all the old pictures and everything. But like I say, thanks to everybody that got me in here and voted for me, and it's a lot of fun, so thank you.
Since we're going through the booklet with by alphabetical, we'll switch a little bit to do some bull riding now. And our next person we will get to meet a little bit up closer than usual is Dustin Elliott. But before you turn that on, I'd like to introduce a couple other people that are in the crowd tonight. Oh, Dustin Elliott, or Dustin Looper, we want to hear from you too. Dustin Looper is our... Come on up, Dustin. Dustin is our rodeo coach at Chadron State, and he didn't ride bulls, I don't think. I think he's a bareback rider, is that right? But he watched these people, he rodeoed with them and against them and everything, and he's going to add his congratulations and see if they can find you a couple more bull riders like that.
Maybe they're kids and Will's daughter. Yeah, I rode bulls too, but not like these guys. I couldn't ride a blowed up Hellcat across the pasture compared to these two. But yeah, I went to school at a different school, National American University in South Dakota, and we were kind of one of the tops every year then too. And one of my roommates in college, kind of like your camaraderie, he was second 2 of those years. In 2 of those years, he was second to Will, and the second year, he was second to Dustin. So that tells you how competitive that it really was. And these are 2 of the finest athletes that have come through here, and very fortunate. And Daryl's back there, their rodeo coach. They didn't have as much support as we have now. The kids that we have nowadays, they got a bucking machine, they got an indoor arena. In fact, it's so warm in there in the wintertime, it could be 20 degrees outside wearing our t-shirts. Back then, those guys did it by blood, or sweat, blood, and just pure carnality. And that's amazing. They had, like Coach O'Boyle, everything you want in an athlete, those 2 had. And Dustin and I have kind of become friends, and he's a coach at Midland Community College in North Platte, and we get to compete every year together at the college finals in the softball tournament. I guess that's what old guys do. And when we're on the same team, it gets pretty rigorous there, doesn't it, Dustin? You gotta lay out for that one. You gotta throw it better. It gets pretty competitive, but rodeo programs, thanks to a lot of support here, great days ahead. We're a varsity sport now, and the same kind of Coach Long. We start our year out the same thing. What's your goal? And I always tell them it's not the most willing that's gonna, or the most athletic that's gonna win. It's the one that's most willing, the one that shows up every day, the one that works the hardest, that swallows a spoonful of concrete, maybe a little sip of Dr. Pepper, and toughen up when things get bad. That's my favorite quote to them when they go to whining. And these guys did it. I mean, you can see as bull riders, you know, it's kind of become a franchise, to be honest with you. They wear helmets all the time. Go up and see their faces just a little bit. Someone probably got false teeth and, you know, stuff on their lips. I mean, it was hat down back then. And these guys are as good as cowboys that have ever come through Chadron State. But once again, I want to say thanks to Con. I don't know if he ever sleeps. I kind of believe he's God's angel right here at Chadron State. And I get up pretty early because I run quite a few cows, kind of like Daryl run 2 jobs. If I'm not up by 4 o'clock in the morning, Con hasn't called me, something's up. Or the night before. I mean, he's just super amazing asset to Chadron State, Con. And I know we got 2 cowboys back there would agree as well, and we just want to thank you.
Now we'll see Dustin Elliott ride a few bulls.
Dustin Elliott won a bull riding championship at every level of competition. As a graduate of Grant Union High School in Oregon, he won the state's high school bull riding championship and then became the college national finals rodeo bull riding winner as a sophomore at Chadron State College. Finally, he won the Pro Rodeo Cowboys Association champion just 1 year after concluding his collegiate career. As a sophomore, Elliott qualified for the national finals by placing second in the regional standings and then won the championship at the college finals in Casper, Wyoming. He was the only entry among the 48 national qualifiers to stay aboard all 4 of his bulls that required 8 seconds. During his collegiate career, Elliott rode 47 of the 77 bulls he drew. He also frequently competed at other rodeos. Just days before he and Cynthia, whom he met at CSC, were married in May 2003, he scored 84 points to win the bull riding at a PRCA rodeo in Kansas City. That encouraged him to hit the big time. Just a year after he had concluded his college career, he was the PRCA world champion and rode 73% of his bulls. The next 2 years, he rode about 60% of his bulls and finished 4th in the world standings. In 2006, he cut back his travel schedule to help raise his children, but he made it back to the Wrangler PRCA finals in Las Vegas in 2010, when he was also a qualifier in the Pro Bull Rider finals. He lives with his wife Cynthia and their twins, Ethan and Don, in North Platte, Nebraska, where he owns ranch land, has haying and trucking businesses, and coaches the rodeo team at the local community college.
Come on up, Dustin. Introduce your family.
Don't have a speech prepared. They didn't tell us we were good to talk. But again, it's just going to kind of echo what the previous two guys have said, and that's just the Chadron State family, I'll say. Obviously, I met my wife here. Kid from Oregon, Daryl, is funny. My kids got to meet him today at the football game, and I kind of joked about it. And I said, "Hey kids, this guy right here is the reason that you even exist." Because in Oregon, growing up in Oregon, I went to the high school national finals my senior year, and no college had even offered me a scholarship or nothing. There's some schools in the Northwest that I wanted to go to, but nobody even looked at me. And I saw Daryl at nationals, and he offered me $500, and I'd never even been to the state of Nebraska before. So I loaded up the 83 citation, and we headed east. It was like I had one gray door, but it made it. And Cynthia's room 910 over there in high rise. I was running up the stairs because I didn't want to use the elevator at that time of night. And her door was open. So I thought she was pretty cute, introduced myself, and the rest is history. That was freshman year even. So, the family aspect of Chadron is pretty cool. And like my daughter, she's already talking about coming to school here. It's pretty neat. Just walking around the campus brings back so many memories. We reminisce, remember what happened here, remember what happened there. Pretty cool. As far as the rodeo goes, it's a pretty special time to be here, kind of like the football guys, the four that are getting inducted that time, that era. Jeremiah, Will's brother, him and I were just talking beforehand, standing back there by the coffee. The region, where we're not NCAA, we're NIRA, we're in the Central Rocky Mountain region with Chadron. We tried counting it up. There was 10 or 12 guys in our region at that time that qualified for the National Finals Rodeo from this region. And like Dustin's story about his roommate Jason, who won second once to me and once to Will. I only won the region one time because Will won it 3 times. And at that time, we only sent 2 to nationals from each region. So Chadron State, won the nation 3 out of 4 years, and was sending both bull riders from that region to nationals that time. It was just a special era. And I think, iron sharpens iron. And when I came in as a freshman, fall of '99, that was right after Will won his first national title. I mean, that just pushes the guy. Both Coach Long and Dustin talked about setting goals. I'm a firm believer in setting goals, and I actually speak a little bit to some high schools and stuff about goal setting now. And my claim to fame on setting goals happened over there at 247 Kemp Hall, April of 2000. I wasn't happy with where I was sitting in the region. That's the one year I didn't make nationals, but I actually wrote down some goals in a little black book that I took to every rodeo with me. And I dated it, and that went to every rodeo. And I show these kids now that I talk to about those goals that I set, sitting just right over there. So we could go on and on about stories and just the fun that we had here, but it's also, it built a lot of character in us and camaraderie, no different than the football. Rodeo a lot of times gets overlooked, but we're a family just the same as the football family. We're traveling together and funning around, and like Luper said, we're friends on Snapchat. Today I seen his kids playing lightsaber games. One of them was sitting on the pot. It's kind of fun. We're just a pretty close family that, competes, and it was a great time to be here. And, I came back a couple of years ago and spoke at the rodeo banquet, and there again my kids came, and it was nice to reminisce. It's always good to come back here, and proud to have 4 years of my life here, because it definitely changed it. I'm in Nebraska now because of Chadron State.
Dustin, your mother's here tonight too, isn't she?
Oh, yeah. Wife's
Mom and Grandpa Mike over there. Whole family made it up, so it's good.
Good. I wanted to introduce Daryl and Lou too because they live next door to us. And Daryl was the rodeo coach. He's also my cousin, and he knows a whole lot more about rodeo than I ever thought of knowing, and I appreciate him coming tonight. We swapped quite a few stories about Dustin Elliott and some of the other rodeo people in that era, and you had a good team in those days, and they got a really good one again this year, thanks to Dustin. Appreciate that. And now we'll see one of the other great cow bull riders, and here's some video on Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell was a two-time National College Bull Riding Champion for Chadron State College at the turn of the century. Ferrell won the College National Finals Bull Riding Champion as a freshman in 1999 and again as a senior in 2002. Ferrell is one of the few Chadron State rodeo contestants to qualify for the CNFR 4 times and is the only one to win 3 Central Rocky Mountain regional titles and 2 national championships. As a freshman, Ferrell placed at 6 of the 9 rodeos to easily win the regional championship. At the national finals, he was bucked off his first bull, placed 4th in both of the next go-rounds, and was 2nd in the final go-round with 74 points to win the title by 1 point. As a sophomore, Ferrell won the bull riding at 4 of the 10 rodeos of the region and was 4th in 2 more. At the college finals, he finished 7th. Ferrell made his senior year a good one. He cruised to his regional championship and won the championship at the college finals by 26.5 points. Ferrell rode 51 of the 82 bulls he drew for an amazing 62% during his college career. Although injuries sidelined him not too long after he had concluded his college career, Ferrell qualified for the PRCA National Finals in 2003. He is now a lead blacksman for Merit Energy in an oil field near his hometown of Demopolis, Wyoming. Will and his wife, Shauna, have 4 children.
Come up with Will, and we better give a special introduction to your wife, because she's the one that recruited you to Chadron State, right?
Well, again, I'd like to thank everybody here, and I'd like to thank my good Lord Will, and obviously see his hand in me being here. So, Chadron was on my radar when I started looking for colleges. I won the state championship in Wyoming, and I actually ended up my first year of college. I ended up in Missouri. Didn't go well, and I went back to Riverton and took some generals and started dating Shauna. And she is a pretty all right basketball player. Had some schools to go to, so I said, well, go whichever one, I'll try to get a scholarship, and I figured it out. And she chose Chadron. She comes to Chadron to play basketball. Well, so I came to visit the school, and then this even makes the story even more, I guess, special. I believe it was Rick Funston was the coach at that time that I came to visit, and he offered me, a small scholarship, and I said, well, that'll work, I'll go rodeo, I'll make it work. And well, between the time that I talked to him and we had a verbal conversation about what he was going to try to get me some money, and school starting, he left. And Daryl Marshall took his spot. Daryl Marshall, he's got a big spot in my heart because he kind of was like a deer in the headlights, I don't know anything about your conversation, and I didn't have any scholarship, and he worked hard. I think he gave me a small scholarship that first semester, but that being that, it just drove me that much more to earn my way here, to show, I kind of had a chip on my shoulder, I guess, just show them I deserve to be here, I need to have that scholarship, so, and I did, I come out of the first fall rodeo in the region. Daryl came into that, and by that, into that semester, I had a full-ride scholarship, and from there on out, I was taking care of it, and I went to the college finals, and it was just me and Daryl that year. We had big suites in I think it was called A&M, and it was Casper, and we Ryan ran every night. They had Ryan every day, But anyway, then going on from there, you know, like, I had a lot of success and things went well, and I was kind of set up, and I was pretty happy as far as that Chadron, but you know, I recruited this skinny kid from Oregon that turned his toes out, rode everything that he got on, and you know, and Dustin and I have been rodeo partners and family and all that, and I mean, it also drove me more, you know, him being here. I don't know that I would have won the region 3 times and won the West Championship twice if it wasn't for him being on that team, because that just drove me that much more to continue to try to get better, to continue to try to keep going, and Daryl went out and got him. You know, just thank goodness he saw that talent. He saw that and like, hey, you know, let's get this guy here. For sure, it helped where I was at, and I was glad to be part of him being the college champion, and then never more proud for him, the world champion, and Dustin won the world championship in the USA. I mean, you guys can't explain how tough that is. I mean, it's a tough deal to do just to get in that bar and win the world championship. That's an awesome thing. I was very proud of him for that. But I just all looking back and looking and seeing, you know, what got me here and what got me to this point where I would be inducted to the Hall of Fame. You know, I know that God's hand was in it. You know, they're like, it would never work out any other way. So I'm very grateful for that. Grateful for my wife, my family, my mother, who supported me, wasn't able to make it, supported me through all the time, you know, and everything. Just to be here and to do rodeo, it takes a lot of family support. I thank her for that. I thank all of you, and like I said, there's tons of stories. I remember one time, it doesn't have to do with Dustin, but there was a couple of bulldogs on our team, and we you know, I'm not a very big guy, or whatever, not very big, you know, it was the Sheehan brothers, and we made a bet that, you know, if I would go bulldog, I made a bulldog, that they would ride us out of it, and so we made the bet, and I got on their horse, and she had a very explicit name. I keep too many kids in here, I don't want to see them. She was kind of crazy. She wasn't the one to me do that. I was never more prepared in my life getting bull than I was getting on that bulldog horse. I can tell you that right now. And I jumped a few steers out of our practice facility that we had here out of town, and I thought I was in business. We got to do Dubs rodeo, and I was all pumped up, but I was asking all the bulldog, you know, what do I do? Do I need to hold her in, or do I need to go? I mean, what do I need to do in half? And he said, well, hold her. This steer's going to hold in the other half. I said, no, you got to go. This one's going to break easy. Well, I didn't want to run by it because I had to jump, or else they didn't have to be on their rough stuff. So I held in there, and for sure enough, the steer ran. And I had to jump, so we're halfway down the end of the steers at the other end, and the hay was right there next to you. I just kind of looked over and bail off underneath the horse because if I didn't jump off, they didn't have to do anything. So it was a hack, right? But, you know, that's how rodeo families were. Like Dustin, Coach Dustin says, you know, they got it pretty good now. Back then it was pretty tough. I had to get bulls up here. I know Dustin helped me get bulls from up in South Dakota for practice. We had to go search out our stuff, and we had an indoor facility, but it wasn't heated, and the doors didn't turn on. So actually, unless it was windy or raining outside, it was colder in there. It was outside, so it held the cold in. But it was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun, and I think if I'd have been anywhere else, I probably wouldn't have had success that I had. So I thank CSC, and I have very fond memories of being here, and I thank Con for all the research and all the stuff that he does. Again, thank you all. I guess that's it.
This morning, because they had a junior basketball program, all of Will's kids, Rhodey and Cameron and Logan, they got to participate and play a little basketball while they were here too. And they also, Rhodey was even looking at the wrestling going on too, because he likes that sport too. So they had double duty here today. That was fun for them, I know. We'll switch sports now for just a little bit, and we'll see about Janelle Hutt and then Zak Kennedy. And Janelle Hutt was our star center basketball player, and we'll watch a video on her. She'll be the gal with the ball most of the time. And, forgot what your number was, Janelle, but some of the people are wearing it on your shirt. So everybody that's 54 on the Hutts, and you'll see quite a few people in red shirts here. She almost set the record for having the largest attendance in a family, I think, here, and we're proud to have the Hutts from down around Grant and then North Platte and beyond those places too.
Janelle Hutt, a 6'3" post player and native of Grant, Nebraska, was in the regular rotation all 4 years for the Chadron State College women's basketball team. She shot 50.4% from the field and scored 1,100 points, grabbed 580 rebounds, and blocked 114 shots during her career. She had a particularly strong senior season when she averaged 12.5 points and 5.4 rebounds and was named to the Nebraska NCAA Division II All-Star team and was placed on the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference's second team. The Eagles won 20 games her junior season and 19 her senior year. The team had great balance with classmates Melissa Burke, Brady Ladke, and Roxy Agro, also 4-year regulars. There were 8 seniors on the 2000-2001 team. A few weeks after her basketball career ended, Hutt gave a classical piano recital at Chadron State. After earning a degree in business and economics, she has worked for the North Platte Public Schools much of her career. She and her husband Greg have 3 children.
Deterding, I have this written down. Now maybe my children will believe that I did play basketball in college and that I was somewhat good at it. I am truly humbled to have been chosen to receive this award. My senior year of high school, my dad told me that he thought I should go get Chadron for college. I told him I had no idea where that even was, and that I'm pretty sure it was Hickville, and I was not going there. He talked me into at least visiting the campus. On our way to Chadron, the only radio station we could get part of the way was an Indian station. If I would have been driving, we would have turned around and gone home right then and there. It was a good thing I did, because when we arrived at Chadron, I started touring the campus, and I began to change my mind when I saw how big the dorm rooms were and when I met basketball coach Tom Anderson. When I went home, I still wasn't certain if Chadron was the place for me, and I was still looking at the other colleges that I had received scholarship offers from. Coach Anderson started calling me and calling me and calling me to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, this guy really wants me to play there. So I went back to Chadron and practiced with the basketball team, and Coach Anderson gave me an offer that I decided I would be crazy to pass up. It was the best decision that I ever made. I made lifelong friends and memories at Chadron State College. I wouldn't be receiving this award without my teammates. Without them, I wouldn't have had anyone to pass me the ball in hopes that I would make the basket, which would lead me to scoring over 1,000 points. I also wouldn't be here without the support of my parents. My mom spent hours on the driveway rebounding and passing the ball for me, and for my dad for pushing me to look outside my comfort zone. They drove miles and miles to attend my games, and they even supported me when I got a technical for accidentally kicking a Fort Hays player after she hit me in the nose and I knocked her down, and the Fort Hays fans erupted and wanted me kicked out. I'm pretty sure that my dad is the only Chadron State fan that has gotten a speeding ticket between 2 states, between Kansas and Nebraska, trying to get from Fort Hays to Nebraska. And in probably an hour's time, he received 2 speeding tickets in two different states. I started dating my husband, Greg, partway through my freshman year. He is also one of my biggest fans. He came to the majority of my games and helped keep the refs and my friends in line during the games. I feel my good friends Tammy and Sage Solon and their son Andrew, who are also Chadron alumni. Greg's cousin Aaron and his wife Becky, and children Casey, Colson, and Cage, who Aaron and Becky are also Chadron alumni. And my great friend and roommate Bridget. So again, thank you.
I'll bet it's about time for the Hutts to stand up for a stretch anyway. Let's see how many there are when you all stand up, please. I know you took a picture a while ago. Congratulations and thank you for coming to support the council. Now we'll hear from Zak Kennedy. He had a little bit different. He wore several numbers, and he's also the guy with the ball most of the time, so you'll probably recognize who he is, but sometimes he was 13, sometimes 32, sometimes 33. I don't know whether he lost his jersey or what, gave it to a, no, it wouldn't be a girlfriend, but better not mention that anyway. So anyway, let's watch and see about Zak Kennedy.
Zak Kennedy, a 6'5" forward from Strand, Nebraska, started nearly 100 games for Chadron State College, shot 48.4% from the field, poured in exactly 1,200 points, grabbed 537 rebounds, handed out 168 assists, and came up with 114 steals. He had a school record 5 dunks in a game his sophomore season. During his junior year in 1999-2000, the Eagles went 19-8 and defeated Metro State, which went on to win the NCAA Division II National Championship. Kennedy closed his college career on a high note, 2000-2001. He was the Eagles' leading scorer in each of the final 7 games when he shot 62% from the field and averaged 23 points. For the year, he averaged 15.4 points and 6.0 rebounds. At the end of that season, he was named to the Nebraska NCAA Division II first team and was placed on the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference's second team. As a junior at Stanton High School in 1995-96, Kennedy led the Mustangs to the Class C2 state basketball tournament championship. He earned all-state honors as both a junior and a senior, and finished his career by scoring more than 1,600 points and grabbing nearly 800 rebounds. He earned both his bachelor's and master's degrees in business administration from Chadron State. He is the senior finance director for Serta Simmons, a large betting firm at Hoffman Estates, Illinois, near Chicago. He and his wife, Lee, have a daughter, Paige.
brings me to my second lesson I learned, which is karma. Probably 2 days later, Bubba Lackey, which his son now plays for CSC, Greg. I've already put the mask on. If you guys know Bubba, he thinks he's funny, right? He plays jokes, so he's just Bubba. Gotta be the guy. Right before he was going to put on, he punched me in the face. And obviously didn't feel great. But he was a coach at the time too, so that's a little bit different getting hit by a coach. But a couple days later, we're going on a tournament, and going to South Dakota, we're going to play, I think, in Aberdeen. And my face is just completely swelled shut. My eyes swelled shut. I don't know, Don, if you remember that. You took me to the ER. Go to the ER where they told me I have an infection. Thanks. Appreciate that. Didn't know that. Next day, go to the dentist. They poked a couple holes in the back of my teeth. Pus just drains out. My eyes were swollen shut. They're just draining out. So that's my karma. So I broke Aaron Turner's nose, and a couple days later I had an abscess too. Thank you, Bubba. But that's and I guess the third lesson is thanks for having insurance, Mom and Dad. So I appreciate you doing that. So always have insurance. But it's great coming back, seeing the facilities, the new basketball gym, everything that great updates to the college campus. Thanks to Con, thanks to CSC, the college setting this whole thing up. Congratulations to the other Hall of Fame members. Great memories here. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I want to thank my family, my parents. They're in my Hall of Fame, so they didn't miss anything. I think my dad missed one game here, and that was because it was a horrible storm, and he couldn't make it. 330 miles. We played on Thursday, drove home. My mom worked nights, brought her back on Saturday, but they drove that Thursday, went home Friday, came back Saturday. So they're in my Hall of Fame, so thank you. I'm here with my family, Paige, my daughter, my wife Lee, and my mom, Dad, and Walter and Robert. So thanks everybody, thanks CSC, thanks Con, thanks everybody.
I think you were Dan Beebe's first recruit, were you? I believe so. I could never figure out why you came so far away to come to Shadow State, but we appreciated it so much. And to your parents that drove those 330 miles round, one way, so many, many times. We really appreciated that. How many cars did you wear out doing that? I know you had fun, and we had fun watching Zak play, and glad he's doing so well now, and glad he can be inducted into the Hall of Fame like the rest of them. Somebody was mentioned at this table, Don Watt, who is a member of the Hall of Fame. We're glad you're here tonight, Don. Don's been battling some health problems lately, and we're glad to see you're here and looking good and feeling lots better. We also better mention Peggy Marshall's at this table too. Thank you, Peggy, for coming tonight and for all everything you do. And Joel, are you going to introduce the rest of these people before, or should we mention them now? John Hanson, one of our vice presidents here at the college, and his wife's here. Chris Green, who helps Joel a lot with everything he does. So there's some people up here front, we can't forget and say thank you to them for coming tonight. Our next, we'll switch back to football now for a little bit, and we'll talk about, see a little bit about Matt Strand. He's going to be number 16, and he's going to have the ball in his hand most of the time, because he was the quarterback.
Matt Strand was a wishbone quarterback for Chase County High School and developed into an outstanding pro formation signal caller during his career at Chadron State College. Strand, who also started 2 years for the men's basketball team, was the Eagles' starting quarterback for 3 years, completing 569 of 1,036 passes for 7,461 yards and 56 touchdowns. He also ran for 774 yards and 7 TDs and was the team's punter in his final 2 seasons. As a senior in 2001, Strand led the Eagles to a 10-0 regular season record. He earned Defensive Player of the Week honors 6 times including National Player of the Week following the season opener against Wisconsin River Falls, where he completed 24 of 35 passes for 308 yards. Following his senior season, Strand was the first Chadron State quarterback to earn first-team All-Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference honors and was voted the league's Offensive Player of the Year. He was one of 24 candidates for the Harlem Hill Award that goes annually to the football player selected as the best in NCAA D2 and was named captain of the Omaha World Herald's Nebraska's NCAA Division II team. The following summer, the Omaha World Herald chose Strand as its state college male athlete of the year. Since graduating from CSC in 2002 with a major in business, Strand has been involved in banking, much of the time in Casper, Wyoming, where he also played quarterback for the Wyoming Cavalry in the National Indoor Football League for nearly a decade. Strand and his wife, Dawn, and their 2 children now live in Glendale, Arizona.
Chadron was from my recruitment, so I took a quick detour somewhere else, and over Christmas break decided I was going to transfer to Chadron. And I was driving up here, I had fallen asleep, woke up, and we were going through Alliance, and I thought Dad was Chadron somehow, because I did not know that Chadron was farther north than Alliance. So that was my first kind of experience with Chadron. I got to know a lot of great guys here. Played with a lot of great people. A lot of different stories. Obviously, Ryan and Jeremy did a great job keeping me upright most of the time. So it made my job a lot easier. So I can't say thank you enough. Ryan was always great giving us time for me rides home because I didn't have a car at first. So he would live in Cambridge, and we would stop at Oglala. My parents would come up and pick me up. So I can't thank Brian enough for that. Your bond with your center as a quarterback is always pretty tight. But of course, start with Jay, and one of Jay's memories I have with him is we're at Western. I got hit laid out of bounds, and his question was not necessarily if I was okay, but what number? And then it was game on after that. So that was a great memory I have with Jay and those guys. And Jeremy, he just always didn't say a lot, but he did his job. Jeff, one of the toughest guys, just like we said, he'd go, we'd have a bye week or something, he'd go have surgery, come back in, 2 weeks and still play. Just a little ice ibuprofen. That seems a favorite remedy and everything. But it was just a great experience here. Helped take me on to, I played indoor football at Casper. Completely different game, but it was a lot of fun. And there's still a bunch of Chadron connection there because Coach Stein, he was the first coach I had over there, and then Magic came over and coached for 5 years. So that was good. Stein told me how to play it, just kind of like a video game basically, because you can score all the time, so just hit reset. That was his advice. But basketball, I didn't get necessarily scoring as much points as Zach, but one of my favorite things was before practice one day, they told us to work on game shots. I don't know if you remember that year, Zach, but I was the designated screener on the team. So my game shot was setting a screen. So Coach Polk was watching us, and I would go stand next to one guy, he'd shoot, then I'd go stand next to another guy, and he'd shoot, and he asked me what I was doing, and I told him I was setting screens for my designated screen practice. So it was a lot of fun. Just the friendships you need and make here. Wouldn't trade it for a world, because it's just, you get back here and it really pulls on your heart a little bit every time. But, yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Matt. We got a little bit more to say about you. For one thing, he was a homecoming king. No. He was a homecoming king in the fall of 2000, and that's quite an honor. And that was great. But another thing, he seldom threw an interception, both as a sophomore, and a junior, and as a senior. When he was a quarterback, he threw 100 straight more than 100 straight passes without ever being intercepted all 3 of those years. And I think that's really a great designation as a great quarterback. And not only did he complete about 55% of his passes, but he also ran for 774 yards. So he could run and throw and do everything. That's probably why he played wishbone back in high school to do those things. But anyway, and then played basketball, did the punting, did about everything, and glad to have you into the Hall of Fame, and congratulations. And I would better mention one more thing. We've had 2 little brothers from these families. Eardley was a great linebacker at Chadron State, and John Strand was a great offensive tackle at Chadron State. And you folks, in about 3 or 4 or 5 years, or whenever they get to 15 years up, you'll have to come back, and we'll do it all over again, because those 2 fellows will undoubtedly be inducted into the Hall of Fame too. So hope you can find your way back to Chadron. And Matt will expect you, and Jeremy will expect you to come along and escort him here again. So that'll be great. One more person. He's the little brother this time, because his older brother, Ryan, who's in the audience tonight, and who one of our all-time great defensive backs, is also in our Hall of Fame already. But this is the little brother. This is Jeff Turman, and you may have a hard time finding his number 50 up here, because he was at the bottom of the pile on most of the tackles, I think, or a lot of the tackles anyway. So watch and look for him.
A native of Hay Springs, Jeff Turman was a 4-year starting linebacker for the Eagles at the turn of the century. The Eagles led the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference in both total defense and scoring defense each of those seasons, and they won or shared 3 conference championships. During his career, Turman participated in 285 tackles, including 177 that were unassisted. His tackles included 19 quarterback sacks for 161 negative yards. He also recovered 8 fumbles and had 20 pass hurries. He was the team's leading tackler in both 1999 and 2000. He earned first or second team all-conference honors all 4 seasons, and was a 3-time RMAC all-academic honoree. He was also placed on the NCAA Division II All-Nebraska team as a junior and senior. His teammates voted him the Eagles' outstanding defensive player his senior season in 2001. Although he required major knee surgery once, had his knee scoped in the middle of the season another time, and had shoulder surgery twice after seasons were over, he never missed a down because of an injury. His older brother, Ryan, was a 4-year starter at safety for the Eagles, earned first team all-conference 3 times, and was inducted into the CSC Athletic Hall of Fame in 2014. After being the coordinator of the Activity Center at the South Dakota Human Services Center in Yankton for 16 years, Jeff became the Sports and Recreation Manager of the Nelson Physical Activity Center at Chadron State this fall. He and his wife, Steph, have 2 daughters.
Last but not least, I'll keep it short.
I'm sure you're all looking at the clock, ready to get out of here, so. I guess I was one of those guys that knew where Chadron was. Grew up 20 miles from there, and, you know, playing 8-man football, you don't give it a whole lot of thought that you're going to go on and play, but Coach Howard gave me that chance. I'm sure glad he did, because meeting all these guys and the times that we had was pretty awesome. Remember showing up to practice and playing with Kevin Homer and wondering, checking the sideline to see if there's any scouts at practice, because, you know, Homer's going to go 110 mile an hour if there was, and those days when scouts were there, it made me a better player, but it wasn't much fun. But I just want to thank everyone for coming. My folks, I think, sorry about that. I think they only missed one game in the whole season. We have this disease my grandma gave me. I get emotional. My dad's got it. He passed it on to me. I think one of my kids has it, so we live with it. But my aunt and uncle are here from Alliance. I have a co-worker that's been working with in Yankton for 16 years. Swung by. My wife and kids, of course, are here. So we're kind of transitioning. They're still living in Yankton, and I'm here in Chadron trying to rebuild a house. So hopefully get here by Christmas. And speaking of the house, I showed up after the football game today, and here sits 5 guys from the fire department in Yankton drinking all my beer. So I'm going to have to get some more, but appreciate you guys coming down. But I don't have much else. Just thanks, guys, for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Or Jeff, yes, Jeff. Football's really changed a lot in the past few years, and the team that Jeff was the ringleader on the defense for, and he had a lot of good teammates on there, and I think some of them will also be inducted into the Hall of Fame in the next couple of years, probably. But anyway, they gave up 121 points in their 10 games. In the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, after 8 games, there were only 2 teams in the conference that hadn't given up more than twice that many points. One of them was Chadron. There were 3 teams. Chadron only played 7 games. They hadn't given up that many, but the other 8 teams in the conference had all given up more than 240 points after 8 games this year. These fellas gave up 121 points during their 10-game season. So defense was pretty tough then, and we had a great offense too, and that's why they went 10-0. A great thing, and something that we can celebrate. We can celebrate national champions. We can celebrate lots of field goals from the basketball players, and just a great thing. We appreciate. Welcome to the Athletic Hall of Fame. It's something Ross Armstrong started a long time ago. Chadron State probably has more members than almost anybody else, but I don't think we haven't ever just opened the floodgates and let everybody in. It's been we've got one member that played football at Chadron State back in more than 100 years ago. So that's how thorough a job Ross did of bringing in people beforehand that had done so much for the program, and we try to continue that. You saw tonight what the high quality group that we have. We have one more thing we need to do at least. Maybe Joel has some other announcements or something, but we need to get a picture of all 8 of you folks that were inducted tonight. Bring your plaques, and we'll put some chairs up over here. 4 of you can sit down. The 4th tallest can probably stand, and we'll have a great picture, and we'll use that all over, and we'll appreciate it. And shall we say good night? Good night. Thank you very much.